The European parliamentary election has highlighted a widening gap between Madrid and Catalonia. More than 55% of Catalans voted for parties calling for a referendum on independence from Spain. RT's Egor Piskunov now investigates the growing mood of separatism in the region.
They want their voices to be heard.
Different opinions is what democracy is all about, isn't it?
Catalonia is not like Spain, and we must be allowed to vote.
It's the job of politicians to know what people think.
Perhaps not all politicians in Madrid would agree. A referendum to decide whether Catalonia wants to separate from Spain was banned by the country's parliament, despite opinion polls suggesting up to 80% of locals wanted it to be held.
Catalan process for independence is absolutely democratic and absolutely with absolute respect to the no violence practice, and I think it's our power is the democracy.
With a population of around 7.5 million people, Catalonia makes up around 1/6 of the entire population of Spain and could easily be called one of its richest regions. Its GDP isn't only higher than the average in Spain, but the entire European Union's average as well.
Barcelona's port is one of the largest in Spain when it comes to cargo and one of the biggest in Europe for tourists. Having around 32,000 people go through it in just one weekend is a normal thing here. It also deals with petrol and gas products, and it's so large, it's like a city within a city, which annually floats billions into the Spanish state budget.
Tourism, along with car, chemical and food production, are all bringing in some heavy cash. However, those against independence have a different view of why Catalonia is so well off.
For decades and decades, Catalonia has been providing manufacturing and industrial goods and commodities to the rest of Spain in a very highly protected market.
But those in support of independence claim it would only make things better.
When Norway won its independence from the Kingdom of Sweden, trade actually increased. In many Central European and Eastern European processes of independence, which we have experienced in the last few decades, the same has been the case. Economies have improved, they have expanded, and trade between partners and neighbors has actually improved.
Perhaps an independent Catalonia or not is a different story, which has to be decided by the people. Should they be allowed to vote is what really matters right now. After all, isn't democracy what Europe is all about? Egor Piskunov, RT, Barcelona.
So let's sum up why Catalonia believes it should have independence. Well, first of all, it's Spain's most productive industrial region, responsible for around 1/5 of the country's GDP. Secondly, it pays 1/4 of all taxes Madrid receives, and Catalans say they could do a better job managing their own resources according to the needs of their community. And finally, the region has its own language, history, culture and flag, and it wants its national identity to be recognised by the rest of the world. But Madrid has its own view on the matter. Catalonia's request for a referendum on independence has been rejected by the Spanish Parliament. Prime Minister Rajoy insisted that such a vote would be illegal, saying that he can't imagine Spain without Catalonia. On another occasion, he stated that there will be no independence for the region while he's head of the country.